Hello and welcome to the Scholar Progenium. Today we've got another exciting bolt action video for you. Warlord Games have released their much anticipated close combat update for bolt action, but not only that, I have got my hands on what is an even more highly anticipated bit of kit because I've received today my version 3 bolt action rulebook. Find out more. So yes, very exciting news indeed, but it doesn't stop there because I've also got more for you. We've got a couple of special guests on today's video. I've got Bo Mortensen, captain of the Danish national team. He'll be joining us in just a second alongside my brother Mordian Glory, or to me, I call him Tim. And we're going to be going through these combat rules together. We're going to ask Bo his opinion from a competitive standpoint, and then Bo's going to ask us some questions so we can give you guys a little scoop. We can't show you the precise rules, but we can certainly answer some questions related to close combat. And after all of that, if you're watching this video on release day, then jump straight over to the Mordian Glory channel because we have a live stream where we can answer even more of your questions, so join that live stream. But before you hop over there, make sure you like this video, give us a subscribe, and we have so much version 3 content coming for you guys. In the coming days, over the next week or so, we're going to have battle reports, how to play videos, rules overviews, everything we can. Now that's almost enough waffle from me, but before the boys jump over, I just want to give a big shout out to Warlord, giving us all this support on the channel to help us create the content that you guys want to see so we can enjoy version 3. And now that I've seen the rules, now that I've started reading that rule, but let me tell you, it is going to be the best version of bolt action.
Yeah, thanks boys for making the time to join me this afternoon. Really buzzing to have you here. Exciting times, finally, the close combat rules. Bo, I know you've had a little bit of concern about this. What are your thoughts going into it, coming up to...
Before reading today, I was still concerned, let me say that. I own large close combat armies, and this is, of course, messing with my whole vision of the game. So I was worried going in, yeah.
The feng shui of your bolt action gaming or your gaming room is going to have to be reorganized for sure. Yep. Moving some armies back on shelves, some armies to the front. Right, yep. Okay, we'll dive straight in and we'll have a look at what the rules are themselves. So first things first, then it's kind of the same order and everything like that. You destroy, you don't have to roll to hit. You don't, you just strike and do wounds straight away based on the veterancy. So that's all the same. Like, what are your boys' thoughts on that? Do you think maybe they should have changed it? Because you still get wiped out after one failed round of combat. Maybe they should have had a morale check or something like that. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'll let Bo go first and I'll jump in after.
Right. I'm already public on saying that I would like a little more grittiness. I would like a little more choices in my close combat. So keeping it the same, of course, simplifies the game. But for me, I would have liked them to have a little bit more of something you could choose that would change up the mechanics here. I mean, it's really nice that you have a part of the game where you can absolutely wipe out a unit. That for me has always been really important, that you can have those moments where you can take a unit off a board because it's decisive, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, we've both said it in separate videos and in previous collab videos. Basically, that's what got us starting. That actually began our friendship. Was discussing the close combat rules and how it's decisive. And if you need a unit destroyed, if it absolutely has to go, you can't fall back on shooting in second edition. But I mean, now, because we've got to move on to sort of the second change, which is a huge change in my eyes. Oh, well, Tim, do you want to button on that first before we move on?
So my general thoughts on bolt action close combat is it probably was slightly too lethal. Not necessarily from a veteran perspective, but as someone who has converted many a 40k player. Over bolt action, one of the it's my go-to palette cleanser. One of the things that really it can put a lot of people off initially until then they sort of like it, but it can really shock people is, what, I just lost my unit.
Yeah.
And but what? Like it was almost like it was, considering how bolt action is normally quite like, oh, I'm hitting on 6s by 6s, and then suddenly it's like, oh, now everything just dies on like a 4-up. That's crazy. So I do think that maybe bringing the lethality down was something that I think Warlord has taken on board with the new bolt action. Do I think they may have gone too far? And obviously, we'll get into this with Johnny going through the article. I suspect. All I can say is I feel like Bo right now, his background or his new theme song for his channel should be like Taps, because I feel like all of the assault armies are in it's a bad way. It's a bad call, Ripley. It's a bad call. Yeah, I think assault's going to be in a tricky place right now.
I think things have definitely switched around. It's whether they've brought shooting up a step and brought combat down a minor step. We'll have to go into the rest of the rules to make this clearer. Or have they overcorrected and sort of close combat is just waving, or shooting rules are just waving to close combat as it just like plummets past on the way down. Right, okay, so we'll have a look at the next sort of reveal. This is the big one, well, one of two big ones for me, which is in terms of the distance charge. Now, this isn't as in your face as the final change, but it is a big one nonetheless, and that is that you measure, they've absolutely clarified, you measure the distance between the closest visible models between the attacker and the defender. And then on top of that, you have to measure to run around vehicles, around things. So it's not as the crow flies. They've tweaked the penalty on going close to enemy units. So you can actually run a hair's breadth away from an opponent's unit. So there's no more having sort of a truck and an infantry squad 2.5 inches apart, so an enemy unit can't dash between them anymore or something like that, or a truck in impassable terrain, for example. So they've done all these little minor tweaks, and then on top of that, you can run 12 inches to attack a unit defending an obstacle. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. That's how I've read it. You can run a full 12 inches, but if that unit's touching an obstacle piece of terrain specifically, it can hop back and defend that obstacle. So you could have 10 infantry conga lined 7-8 inches forward of a wall. If you've got a couple of models behind that wall, I've only had the rules today, so it's
wow.
It's could be, I have to look at all the clarifications, I have to go through the rule book with a fine tooth comb. But the way I'm seeing it right now, you get the defensive bonus even if your front portion of the squad aren't behind the obstacle. They're all positioned behind the obstacle. Then all the infantry move 12 inches up to it and they fight, and then they also get the defensive characteristics. So what are your thoughts on that, Bo?
Well, that would give defensive obstacles to a lot more units in a lot more combats. And the other change that we'll talk about in a minute, I'm guessing, is will really boost the defense here, which in my...
You say it, man. You go for it, because it'll probably make more sense.
Well, it's if you've read, then everyone knows already that by now, you always fight simultaneously. And if you have defensive obstacles, then unless some other rule intervenes, the defender fight first.
Such as engineers, yeah.
Yeah. Which is going to basically mean that there's no reason to attack anyone who's near any cover, because that's suicide. That's insane. You don't want
the way you can get around it, and I don't know if they said this in the article, but this is in the main rules, is if the enemy is down, then so it's going to be a case of it's like, look at me, I'm so clever, I went down behind my heavy cover, I'm on a 2-up cover save. It's like, well, now I'm going to hit you with the engineers. Yeah.
But
even then it's like, now I'm going to hit you with the engineers. Oh no, I screwed my dice rolls up. I flubbed it. I just lost the assault because we go simultaneously.
This the simultaneous thing. It's not like all of a sudden you go at the same time. You do the best you get is simultaneous, which is like I just remember, playing so many games with combat armies where you're putting in that work in activations prior to the charge to like get yourself the advantage because you're going to have to fight at the strike at the same time. Now that's if you catch them in the open,
I would say
that depending on the specifics of how that retreat behind the barrier works, it's
I do want
to hop and get that. You've got a lot of the time you're going to be fighting last as the attacker. Great sometimes.
I do want to drop a couple of little positive notes though, because I think obviously right now every Imperial Japanese player is prepared to plunge the sword into themselves before someone cuts their head off. So
mass seppuku is happening.
Yeah. Mass Sudoku.
The Warlord games have aimed the big old Nerf gun at the Brits, and the Japanese are just like walking past.
Just like get hit by the collateral damage. So one thing to say for the Brits, if you have, and I'm dropping something that I don't even think Johnny knows yet, but it is in the rules of it, so I am allowed to drop this. If you are a Brit player who has heavily invested in Gurkha stocks over the last, they are still the best assault infantry.
Okay.
Gurkha, in fact, they're probably the only good assault infantry left.
That's true, because at least they get, that's it. Your Gurkhas are still great because you still get the double attack over everyone else, and everyone else still gets half attack.
Everyone else half their attack still. Yeah.
I mean, assaulting Gurkhas, they're guaranteed to half your attack.
They're guaranteed to win now.
Time.
Yeah.
You cannot shift Gurkhas.
You cannot charge Gurkhas.
It's now impossible.
The worst. What's happened? No, this isn't it. You're okay then. You're okay.
But on the other hand, it is going to be way less often that you see a Gurkha army charge now, because that charge, it was already dicey when you were going simultaneously against enemy veterans with Tough Fighter and stuff. It was already a bit of a gamble. But now, when you are losing Gurkhas every single charge, and you're guaranteed to lose someone every single charge, that is going to be way less attractive.
That's a great point. There's no wiping them out and getting them down to like 2 dudes. They get 1 attack in return on a 5-up. You're safe. Now you are going to get punished. So the Gurkhas get ground down. They've got less attritional value.
Yeah.
And on top of that, that's a really interesting point, mate. And on top of that, now it's not charge. They've kind of been adjusted so it's more tactical flexibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am looking forward to watching a tournament, a Japanese player utterly laminate themselves against a Gurkha army.
And that was always a bad matchup, I'm sure it was.
Now it's even worse.
It's even worse. My speciality in all through version 2 was just murdering Japanese armies with my Gurkhas. I would cut them down so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they mention?
Now they're going to have to do the walking. You just have to sit there, have a couple of cups of tea,
shoot them as they come.
You're going to have to learn how to use your trigger finger.
Yeah.
What's
this rifle stuff I hear about?
Trying to shift them out.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to force them down, essentially. You've got to really hammer them. So they have to go down. So you at least strike them at the same time. And then you only get half attack and hit them with a unit twice their size and the same veterancy. And then you've
maybe. Preferably, I think, indirect shooting. I think mortars is going to be really important.
Yeah, lots of recce platoons full of artillery observers on the horizon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Any more things coming to mind, boys, just straight off the back? Have we discussed everything in the article there?
Have we talked? Does the article cover Tough Fighter, or should I drop that little pearl of wisdom in as well?
I mean, we're going to be.
I'm allowed to. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm not. But Warlord's not going to be kicking my door down with the Pinkertons or anything like that.
I have me and Tim have emailed. 2 emails back and forth today to just be like, and you're
Is this
absolutely
okay?
sure we can say this?
The phone's not mine, sir.
Yeah, man,
Major Kieran must answer.
We are absolutely sure you can talk about Tough Fighter because Marcus Vine did it on my channel when we recorded yesterday, and it's releasing today. So
yeah.
So make sure, that's a good point. Whilst we're at it, hop over to Bo's channel after you've seen this as well. Make sure you check out his chat with Marcus Vine. So we're all working together here. The three amigos getting out that content for you guys for Bolt Action version 3. Yeah, go on, Tim. Hit us with the Tough Fighter.
do it.
It's rerolls to hit now.
It's rerolls to hit now. I haven't even got to that page on the rule book. I'm like looking around at all the national rules. Like,
that means you're very, very likely to get a lot of kills. That was one of the main things for me playing Assault Armies was I would sometimes just strike out and have like the first roll of dice have 2 2s and 5 1s, and I was just I lose.
When
now you re-roll all those misses.
Yeah,
you never strike out, so the consistency is way better, which is a real positive for me in close combat.
Such a roller coaster of emotion. This,
it is,
because it's like, okay, so like my Finns, if I can just take a second and give a shout out to my Finn bros out there. My Finns now, give them all Tough Fighter.
Tough Fighter.
We're good to go. Skirmish away. You try and charge me, you're within 6 inches. Pop out, ambush. I'm striking at the same time regardless. If I'm defending, I'm striking you first and ambushing you first.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Don't ever try. Like the game we two had, Johnny, I would never again try to charge you. That's suicide. Yeah. That's now complete suicide.
Oh my gosh, you just don't. It's just like total Mexican standoff. I'm just like ambush.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. But then you get to move around and do all your movement whilst I'm just sat there. Do I pop it? Is he coming for me?
Maybe. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Re-rolling, to just go back a second, re-rolling hits. That's like, Bo, you've not played since first edition, have you? You started like 4 or 5 years ago.
I started right after second edition came out.
Right after second edition drops. I remember us chatting about this in the car once. And that's interesting because I'm just trying to cast my mind back. Tough Fighter was originally, they were all, it's like the MG rule. They've tweaked it every edition. They're like almost zeroing in on the bullseye. Yeah. Like first up it was
double attack,
Double attack, way too strong. Like, wow, okay, crazy. Then they take it back a notch, but maybe 2 notches, goes down to, if you get a hit, and against veterans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was always bad, but now
you're re-rolling those.
Tough Fighter is much stronger. I guess that's also why they upped the price of SMGs, because an SMG is now 4 points, not 3 points.
Yeah.
Because Tough Fighter is better.
And they took it off pistols. Okay, I get it. Okay, makes sense now. Yeah.
It's any consolation.
Pistols away. Yeah.
It's any consolation. The Japanese still get free swords, so they get free to fight on like a bunch of stuff.
That's good. They get 2 attacks in close combat. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Right. Boys, I'm going to have to jump out real soon. So, is there anything you would like me to to comment on here before I go?
I mean, are you overall happy with the change to Tough Fighter, the change to everything? Do you think combat's got better, worse, the same? As a lot.
I think having not played the game yet makes it hard for me to comment really on this. I'm still worried about what this does to close combat, because close combat was one of the decisive moments, and I'm still worried that shooting may not be decisive enough. And if close combat isn't decisive either, I'm just looking for where's the game being decisive? Where can you actually win the game? And not having played it yet, that is still a worry for me. This did not make it go away. So yeah,
I definitely would say that we're going to a shooting meta. I definitely say we're going to a shooting meta.
Yeah. We're going to a what meta? Sorry,
shooting meta, definitely.
Yeah, I think shooting's taking a front seat, but I think there's going to be a lot of nuance to combat. Maybe what you were saying at the beginning, Bo, that's almost been gone in the opposite direction. Now there's not different levels to it. It's like there's not even an extra round of fighting with tough fighter. It's just roll your dice, get extra hits, bang, that's your result. It's get, you know, GG on that assault or whatever. But on the other side, you know, you're going to have to make sure that unit goes down. You've got to suppress them. With the rally order clearing all those pins, you've got to suppress them, you know, right. You know, it's okay, it's time for the charge. Get those MG spraying in, hit them with a couple of mortar shells. Right, boys, let's get them kind of thing. So I think it's going to make some really epic sort of tactical moments in as you know, matches evolve. So that would be my take. Tim, what about you? Combat rules, final thoughts?
I'm going to say one mysterious thing, which isn't going to be that mysterious, but mysterious for now. It's not just inexperienced German squads armed with all STG meta incoming.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
The Volks Grenadiers are on the line. All you coming first two players, you are going to be happy. Volks Grenadiers assemble. I'm telling you now.
Right. Anyways, I'm going to have to run now.
Cheers so much, Bo. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you soon. We'll wrap it up there. So it's been a pleasure having you on, and we'll be collabing loads over the next few weeks, I'm sure. So I'll catch you in the next one, mate. Thanks very much for your time.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye. I was just going to say to all the people out there, you know, thanks very much for tuning in. Now, if you're watching this video right now, hop over in sort of 20 minutes or so. Me and Tim are just going to have a quick bit of food and this, that, and the other. Then we're going to be having a live stream where we can answer some questions for you guys over a couple of hours. So get your questions in there so we can do some scoops for you. Fully Warlord approved, 2 thumbs up. So all good. And then make sure you've subscribed to Scholar Progenium, because we've got loads of content coming out over the next literally couple of weeks. Like, they're coming out over the next few days. Battle reports, how-to videos, all of that. So, and you know, Tim, I'm sure will be revealing more in future content as well. So make sure, I'm sure you're already subscribed to Mordian Glory. Any final thoughts, Tim?
Look, right. Subscribe to the friggin' channels. It makes a huge difference. It's like YouTube feeds like a gluttony on likes. So like the channel and subscribe. Johnny's too polite about it. Like it, or I'm going to be very upset with you. Like Scholar Virginia.
Okay, well that's how you apparently get success.
40k mindset, bolt action mindset.
Yeah, that's the 40k world right there. Right,
get your reps in, boys.
We'll wrap it up there, boys. We'll see you again in half an hour. We'll see you again over the next few days. This has been the Scholar Progenium. I hope you found this video interesting and entertaining. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.